You ever have one of those days where you just know right from the second it kicks off that if anything could go wrong, it's going to go wrong in spectacular, can't make this up fashion? That was the day the HOA president tried to have my daughter taken away, clocked me in the face for good measure, and ended up getting hauled off in handcuffs by yours. Truly. Yeah, that happened. But if you want the whole messy story, you got to hear how it all went down, starting with a scream that sliced through my quiet afternoon like a bullet through glass. I was half a mile from the house working a stubborn section of fence line, sweat dripping into my eyes when I heard Lily, my girl, scream a sound every father fears but knows right down to his bones. I didn't think I just ran Tool's abandoned heart trying to beat its way out of my chest. I crashed through the cottonwoods that line Miller Creek, and what I saw made my blood boil. Karen, the infamous HOA president, 5 foot nothing, but somehow the loudest presence in 3 counties, had my daughter's horse by the reins, yelling about trespassing and community water rights. There was my Lily, 16, and tough as nails, fighting to hold back tears, while her phone lay busted in the dirt and her mare Starlight danced in fear. Karen was waving her clipboard like some twisted magic wand, barking, "Get off my community's water access, you little trespasser." I swear her voice could curdle milk. Lily, bless her, tried to stand her ground. "This is our property, Mrs. Peterson. Starlight and I ride here all the time." Karen just doubled down, shrieking about new rules and HOA bylaws, already dialing 911 like she was auditioning for a soap opera. That was my cue. I stepped out from the trees, my badge catching the light. "Yeah, I'm the county sheriff, and yeah, Karen knows it. No need to call the authorities, Karen. The authorities are already here." She spun around, and for a split second I saw something flicker in her eyes, fear maybe. But Karen never backs down even when she's dead wrong. That's her specialty, being loud and wrong at the same time. "My daughter isn't trespassing. This is our land, always has been." "Here, check the deed," I said, handing her a document that's been in my glove box longer than some HOA board members have been alive. Karen snorted, waving her clipboard again, insisting the creek was for community enjoyment now, by board approval. She'd written some new bylaw and seemed to think that overrode county records, property lines, and common sense. I started explaining as if to a stubborn toddler that bylaws don't redraw property boundaries, but Karen wasn't having it. Her face twisted up, and before I could blink, she swung that clipboard right at my cheek. Crack pain exploded, and I tasted blood. Everything went silent, just for a heartbeat. Then my deputies, Miller and Davis, who'd just arrived, started towards us, hands on their belts, but I waved them off. This was personal. "Karen Peterson, you're under arrest for assault on a peace officer," I said, my voice dead cold. She sputtered. "You can't arrest me." I'm the HOA president, but I clicked those cuffs on her wrists and read her rights loud enough for the birds to hear. As my deputies loaded her in the cruiser, Karen glared at me through the window eyes, promising vengeance. That look, I'll admit, sent a chill through me. Sometimes the worst storms come after the calm. Sarah, my wife, met me at the house. She didn't need to ask who'd bloodied my cheek. She just set her jaw and cleaned me up all the while, shooting death ray looks out the window in the direction of the HOA. We'd come to this ranch for peace, to get Lily out of the city and raise her in the fresh Texas air. Hard work, horses, big skies, and honest neighbors. The HOA had seemed like a joke when it first popped up, a little patch of suburban civilization stuck to the edge of our property. But then Karen seized the presidency and everything changed. She was like a tornado of petty rules and vendettas, complaining about cow smells, dust, you name it. Each time I'd push back with facts, and each time she'd retreat with that ice-cold glare. We had one real ally, Grant, my old buddy. He lived outside the HOA, surrounded by projects that were mostly rusting cars and chickens with attitudes. He thought Karen was a lizard person. Only a reptile could hate my rooster Elvis's morning song, he'd say. He was half joking, but he always had the scoop on Karen's latest schemes. When Karen posted a notice declaring Miller Creek a community recreational waterway, Grant found it tacked to a fence post and delivered it to me, practically vibrating with excitement and outrage. The thing was all highlighter and fake legalese with a map showing my creek lit up like Vegas. My lawyer laughed. She's got guts, Jack, but no legal leg to stand on, and I decided it was time to face her down at the next HOA meeting. I hate those meetings smelled like lemon cleaner and desperation. Karen sat at the head of the table flanked by board members who nodded at every word like dashboard bobbleheads. Grant, wearing a tinfoil hat for mind control protection, came for moral support. When I brought up the creek, Karen cut me off, acting like she was bestowing a great civic gift by opening up our land. I laid out the law, the deed, everything. She just smirked, waving her clipboard, and rambled about progressive community bylaws. Then she dropped the bomb plans for a picnic area and paddle boats on my land. That was it. I told her flat out, retract this or face the consequences. She just moved on to a complaint about garden gnomes. That night, the air in our house felt heavy, like we were waiting for the next shoe to drop. Sarah and I tried to reassure Lily, but I could tell the whole thing had shaken her. And just when I started to hope it might be over, the real storm hit. At 2 a.m., Manny, one of my ranch hands, called. The north barn was on fire. Sarah and I tore across the property, heart in my throat. Flames were lighting up the sky. Manny and the others were fighting the blaze, but it was hopeless hay equipment, Starlight stall all going up. I yelled, "Manny, did you get Starlight out?" He just shook his head, smoke and tears streaking his face. Carlos, another hand, ran up. "Sheriff, the fences, they've been cut. The cattle are getting out." That wasn't just an accident. That was a message. When the fire finally died, the barn was ashes, the tractor ruined, and Starlight gone. Doc Jenkins found her body and gave me the worst news: she'd been poisoned before the fire. Somebody hadn't just killed my daughter's horse, they'd made sure she suffered. I checked my trail cams. 3 were near the barn. 2 were toast, melted by the fire. But the third, hidden under an oak, had footage. At 2:17 a.m., 3 figures snuck onto the property carrying gas cans and bolt cutters. One was Bulky Billy, the Bulk Conroy, a known local troublemaker. Another was Wiry Jimmy Weasel Thompson. The third I recognized by the way he moved Kyle Peterson, Karen's son. As they poured gasoline, a car waited at the end of the track, headlights flashing, a 4th player just out of sight, maybe the mastermind. Kyle and his buddies torched my barn, poisoned Starlight, cut my fences. And someone else watched from the shadows. Sarah saw it on the footage, too. "Who was in that car?" she whispered. I didn't know, but this wasn't just Karen anymore. This was bigger. I called Judge Harrison, got warrants for all 3 punks before sunrise. My best deputies and I rolled out coordinated raids on all their homes. Grant, of course, showed up with donuts and tactical advice involving a potato cannon and bacon. We hit Kyle's house first. He tried to run, but we had him. Weasel made a break for it, straight towards my ranch. When I chased him through the thorny brush, I saw something that made my heart stop. Lily out by the edge of the thicket in Weasel's path. He barreled toward her, desperate. I charged pure adrenaline and tackled him hard, cuffed him, and hugged Lily like I'd never let go. She was safe. With all 3 in custody, the truth spilled out. Kyle confessed Karen had masterminded the whole thing, even supplied the poison. The boys were scared stupid, eager to throw Karen under the bus to save their own skins. But Karen wasn't done. Next morning, a shredding truck pulled up at her house, and she scheduled an emergency bulk trash pickup. Grant, ever the curbside archaeologist, dove into her garbage and found the smoking gun, a manila envelope with emails between Karen and Marcus Thorne, a big-shot developer. Turns out Karen had been negotiating with Thorne to sell off Miller Creek's water rights and get our ranch rezoned if we proved uncooperative. The whole mess, arson, poisoning, bogus bylaws, was all to drive us out for a fat payday. We turned the evidence over to the prosecutor, Helen Cartwright, tough as nails, no time for games. She built the case brick by brick, and when court day came, it was pure drama. Karen started out smug, but as witness after witness, her own son, the ranch hand's Doc Jenkins, even Grant testified, she fell apart. The emails sealed her fate. Thorne sat there in his $1,000 suit, smug until the money trail came out. The jury didn't even need a full day guilty, guilty, guilty. Karen for assault, arson, animal cruelty. Thorne for conspiracy and bribery. The court ordered restitution animal welfare funds in Starlight's name, and Miller Creek returned to us for good. I wish I could say it was a perfect happy ending. The barn was gone and Lily's heart was bruised, but we rebuilt. The new HOA board apologized, the community rallied, and for Lily's next birthday, we gave her a gentle new Palomino filly. She named her Dawn. Life went on, maybe not exactly the same, but stronger. Grant threw a wild lizard queen deposed barbecue, and I kept Karen's old perfume bottle, now filled with Grant's jalapeno jelly, as a warning to future troublemakers. How far will a man go to defend his own all the way but the right way, using the law? Not fists. That's real strength. We stood our ground not just for ourselves, but for every family who's ever been bullied or pushed around by people with money and power. But tell me this, where's the line between fighting for what's right and taking justice into your own hands? Would you have stopped where I did or gone further? Let me know in the comments. Because in this world, the fight for justice is never really over.